Earth Day is a very special day for Zero Waste Store as we rethink what God has created for us and how we can sustain this beautiful world we're living in. Yes, it's been hammered for a while already, and we all know of the garbage patches and the rubbish that is lying around. We all know that, but I think we have to rethink how we can change this, and that's why we want to create awareness at Zero Waste Store today for World Earth Day.
Mm-hmm. So for listeners who aren't familiar, what is a zero waste store and how exactly does it work?
Zero Waste Store is a little supermarket where you can buy your groceries, not groceries, your dry items without packaging. So first of all, what we do sell is we sell oils, vinegars, coffee, tea, flowers, superfoods, cosmetics, cleaning products, nuts, seeds, beans. So you hear that we really sell a lot of items without packaging. So that means you can bring your own container, which is then weighed, and then you fill it with as little or much product as you wish to. Then you put your code on which product you fill it with, and then you go and pay. So that means you buy only what you need. Nothing is prescribed. So if you need a teaspoon of a spice, for example, if your recipe says a teaspoon of cumin, you can buy a teaspoon of cumin, but you can also buy a kilo of cumin. The world is your oyster in how much you buy. If a product is packaged, for example, our cosmetic products are packaged, they will always be in a glass jar, then you can reuse the jar. If you don't bring or if you forgot your containers, we always encourage people, of course, to bring their containers, and it doesn't matter what it is. If it's an old glass jar, it's a Tupperware you've got at home. If it's a Ziploc bag, it really doesn't matter what you bring. But if you didn't bring it, there are paper bags which you can use, and then you can hopefully reuse them as well, again, when you come for your next shopping, or reuse them at home. But that's basically your shopping experience. So if you go shopping at Zero Waste Store and you go home, you do not have plastic packaging which you throw into your recycle bin. It's either a glass jar you can reuse or a paper bag that you take home.
Oh, that sounds very interesting. Now, what role do small everyday actions like using reusable containers play in protecting the planet? Because I hear you constantly saying you can reuse.
I think the most important is if we think of, if we go shopping, for example, we go to Spar and we buy our apples or onions, and it's always in a plastic bag, or you even, if you choose your 3 or 4 onions and you put them in these tiny, thin plastic bags and you take it home, it's a bag you've used for how many minutes, how many seconds, and you actually throw them into your hopefully into your recycling bag.
Yeah.
For what? It's had no use basically, and as we all know, that every piece of plastic that has been created on this earth is still on this earth. That means even if it has been recycled, yes, one day it cannot be recycled again. It will never leave this planet. As we all know, it's going to be disintegrate into microplastics. It goes in our drinking water. It doesn't go away. So I think we just have to be more conscious of how we go shopping and how we buy our things, as we know that a lot of things are in plastic bags and all this thing, and one can just make a little change in, even if you go shopping in a supermarket, that you take a material bag with.
Yeah. So how do zero waste practices then reduce our environmental footprint, especially in many of our communities?
if we only think of a toothbrush, every single person uses a toothbrush
Exactly.
at home. We all do. If we only take that plastic toothbrush away and we replace it with a bamboo toothbrush, that is a major contribution we can make. Even a shaver, these plastic shavers, we all use them. There are millions and millions going to the landfills every year. Toothbrushes. These are two very small items we could change, because the bamboo toothbrush you can put into the fire, or you can compost it. So that is a contribution we can make. We all know the shopping bags, but that are, for example, two tiny things we all can do, and it's not a big issue.
Well, for people that are just starting out, what's one simple swap that they can make today, to start living more sustainably? Because people might say it's expensive. How can they start small?
I think as I've just mentioned, is a toothbrush. It's a shaver. It's how you go grocery shopping. But I think where you really can make a difference is only to come into Zero Waste Store and have a look how we do it and what you can buy with us. If I think of the spices, for example, that is a really where you can make a big difference. When you go shopping, you always rebuy these jars where you put your spices in, or even the boxes where your little spices are in. That is where you really can make a big difference, is refill your spice jars. First of all, it's much, much cheaper. You will be surprised what you actually pay for marketing and packaging of these jars. And if you just bring it, you weigh it, you fill it, it is much, much, much cheaper. So we've got a lot of clients that only start with their spices, as this is easy. You've got the jars at home, they're small, and very often your spices also stay nice and fresh if you only buy small amounts, what you need. For example, nutmeg is a product you really need very little of, and you only buy 2 teaspoons. So the world is your oyster. And I think we've got, in the meantime now, 130 different spices. So that's really, it's a wonderful feast for your eyes and your senses as well, because once you're opening the spice jar and you smell the cumin, the nutmeg, the cinnamon, you start cooking already. It's really a feast for your eyes of the colors of the spices and your sense of smell.
Well, just the way you describe it, I can almost smell those spices, Brigitte. Now, let's talk about some of the most common misconceptions about going zero waste.
I think very often people think it's much more expensive. Some products are more expensive, yes, absolutely. Because you remember, we stand for quality. That is very important for zero waste stores all over the world, because, for example, we only have, if we think now of our nuts, we only have one sort of almonds, walnuts, pecan nuts, cashew nuts. We choose the quality for you. We bring it in monthly fresh. It's always the best quality we can get our hands on. So that is, yes, they are a little bit more expensive, but on the other side, they are fresh. On the other hand, because you buy much less, you only buy what you need. You don't throw things away. You don't throw food away because you buy a little. As I've mentioned already, if you have a recipe and you want to try to go gluten-free, we have, I think, 15 different gluten-free flours, and your recipe says 1 cup of tapioca flour, 1 cup of rice flour. You only buy 1 cup. Now, if you go to the store and you have to buy half a kilo or kilo, and the recipe doesn't work for you, then you sit with the rest of the flour. What are you going to do with it at the end? You throw it away.
Yeah.
And that you don't have with Zero Waste Store, as you only buy what you need. So then it is less expensive because you don't have food waste, which is also very important for Earth Day. If we rethink how much we throw away.
Mm-hmm. Well, Brigitte, I must thank you so much for speaking to us. But do you have any final message that you would like to share with our listeners on this year's Earth Day?
Yeah, I really want to say, if you want to see change, you are the one to start with change. And that is the most important, is you can't look to your neighbor or your friend to start something. You are the one that should start change in this world. Be the first one. Be the example in your family, with your friends. Tell them about what change you have done today for World Earth Day. Come into Zero Waste Store. Have a look what we do. Be the change, or create the change you want to see in the world. Be the first one. That's what I would like to encourage every single person with. It doesn't matter what age you are. And also, maybe bend down today, pick up some rubbish. Yeah, it's something small we can contribute to our society.